The controversy over the engine running on Aether continues. What possible breakthrough technologies are hidden from us in history? We know the ancient Greeks talk about ether filling up the whole of the universe, and this is also what Nikola Tesla believed. In the 1990s, a renowned physicist from the USSR invented several unique devices, including a vortex inertial engine. He succeeded in generating vertical thrust by using a mechanism that accelerated mercury in a spiral path. Indeed, the scientist constructed an anti-gravity device and penned Introduction to Experimental Gravitonics. The origins of this discovery date back much earlier than his work. In 1875, a Sanskrit manuscript known as the Vimanika Shastra was unearthed during an archaeological dig in India, detailing a mercury-based anti-gravity engine. A decade after commencing his research, Dr. Talpade built a flying apparatus that ascended several tens of meters in the presence of onlookers. The scientific community had long been polarized, with some advocating the study of this technology and others who were more influential dismissing it as implausible. The division led to the text being dismissed as a forgery. Additionally, it's notable that the concept of ether, still rejected by many scientists, was accepted as fact by figures like Nikola Tesla. Presently, there is an ongoing debate over the feasibility of an engine utilizing this elusive substance, and the question remains, what types of propulsion technology remain concealed from us, and for what reasons? It may come as a surprise, but even today, researchers persist in this field, achieving notable successes. The internet abounds with videos demonstrating such technologies. It's believed that the original manuscript of the Vimanika Shastra was either concealed or destroyed long ago, yet those who had access to it spread the information and illustrations through all possible means. Numerous researchers have voiced concerns about oil companies attempting to suppress their work, and this notion appears credible. The global economy's heavy reliance on oil and the dollar is well known. Naturally, alternative and more affordable energy sources do not align with the interests of influential figures who worry about losing their grip on the fuel market. If you can't put a meter on it, how can you charge people? During the 1920s and the early 1930s, the hypothesis of an ether pervading the universe and acting as a medium for electromagnetic wave propagation was widely recognized in the scientific community. The ether concept was initially proposed by the French scientist René Descartes in 1644. Today, some still support this theory. Albert Einstein and Nikola Tesla, both prominent figures in science, acknowledged the ether's existence. Tesla, known for his unconventional perspectives, was confident in its reality and proposed that it could enable the transmission of electricity over distances. Ether theories in physics posit that it is a substance or field that occupies space, facilitating the transmission and propagation of electromagnetic or gravitational forces. Theories of the ether encompass various interpretations of the substance or medium, sparking vigorous debates among physicists. The emergence of quantum theory and electromagnetism negated the necessity for a physical ether model. Nikola Tesla, not primarily a theoretical physicist, maintained that ether provided the most satisfactory explanation for the physical phenomenon he explored. Tesla's perspective distinguished him from his contemporaries, diminishing his appeal to physicists engaged in serious theoretical discourse. Notably, Tesla's experiment in New York State merits recognition. He constructed an unusual apparatus accompanied by 12 special vacuum tubes housed in a box. Initially deemed a mysterious assembly, these tubes were ultimately recognized as rectifier lamps. The device, encased in a box measuring 61 centimeters in length, 30 centimeters in width, 15 centimeters in height, was connected to tubes. Once back in the garage, the box was positioned under the car's dashboard. Tesla verified the voltage, confirming the car's electrical power, and handed the ignition keys to his nephew. The dashboard housed two gauge displayed values Tesla chose not to disclose. Upon starting the engine, which ran silently, unlike typical engines, they set off. They drove extensively without fuel, covering 50 miles around Buffalo at speeds reaching 145 kilometers an hour, which was pretty fast for that time. Convinced of his invention's success in the countryside, Tesla acknowledged its efficacy, though the workings of the mechanism remained a closely guarded secret. Tesla asserted that his device was merely a receiver for an unidentified radiation originating from the ether, which could be harnessed in any amount. Turning to mercury, we are taught from a young age that it's hazardous and toxic, of course, with school textbooks warning that mercury vapors can cause significant health damage. Despite this, mercury's demonization raises questions, especially given the legal restrictions on its storage. Why does modern society instill a fear of interacting with this element? Historically, mercury was well known to our ancestors, who attributed magical qualities to it and utilized it in alchemy and medicine. Empires and cities were even captured for mercury. Ancient Roman texts by Pliny note that Rome once imported vast quantities of mercury from Spain. Mercury's connection to the Philosopher's Stone spans centuries. Isaac Newton, renowned as both a scientist and an alchemist, famously stated, "Give me a sea of mercury and I will turn it into gold," dedicating 30 years to studying mercury and alchemy. These accounts reflect mercury's high esteem in the past and its extensive use in the latter half of the 20th century. Mercury was extensively utilized in various aspects of life, and its use amounted to tons. However, a significant shift occurred, and now the internet abounds with warnings about the dire effects of inhaling mercury vapors on human health. It raises a question of why the detrimental properties of this element were overlooked for so long. Presently, over 20 minerals known to contain mercury exist, with cinnabar as the primary source. Mercury is typically extracted through distillation, where the more archaic method involves heating and red stones in a furnace until the mineral cracks and releases mercury. This method likely mirrors the extraction of techniques of our forebears. Additionally, mercury's unique electromagnetic properties are noteworthy. It's recognized for its ability to interact with the magnetic field, causing a motor's rotating mechanism to spin rapidly upon contact with mercury. Currently, research on this subject is scarce, leading to speculation that the potential applications of mercury have been recognized and that any related developments have been sequestered in highly confidential laboratories. During the 1990s, physicist and inventor Polyakov explored the anti-gravity properties of mercury. He created a vortex inertial engine whose operation was based on generating vertical thrust by accelerating liquid mercury through spiral channels within a confined space. Polyakov succeeded in producing a modest thrust of a few kilograms. However, the scientific interest in mercury's anti-gravitational properties had emerged much earlier. In another historical account from 1751, the Italian monk Andrea Grimaldi constructed a flying machine resembling a bird. Using this device, he ascended into the sky, traversed the English Channel, and arrived in London. This is in 1751. This unique apparatus was capable of traveling at a speed of 7 miles an hour. A letter preserved in Italy confirms this remarkable feat. In the early 20th century, following Albert Einstein's development of the theory of relativity, which faces criticism even today, the concept of the ether was increasingly rejected by the scientific community. References to this element were swiftly removed from chemistry and physics books. Scientists who persisted in believing in the ether's existence experienced significant censorship and were marginalized within the scientific circles. It has been suggested that this shift favored large corporations and oil magnates, with claims that Einstein's work aligned with their scientific interests. Allegations of his ties to the Rothschild family and funding from bankers have been used to support these assertions. Additionally, it's noted that the prominent banker J.P. Morgan, once a financier of Nikola Tesla, withdrew his support when he perceived Tesla's inventions as a threat to his business interests. Nikola Tesla aspired to construct a tower that could transmit boundless electricity across vast distances without charge, yet this ambition represents merely a fraction of the misconceptions propagated by conventional science. Indeed, it marks an onset of a far more profound exploration. Although Victor Hugo's words about the invincibility of an idea whose time has arrived are often attributed to him, they regrettably do not resonate with Nikola Tesla, whose concepts were so progressive that their era had not yet dawned. The renowned inventor fashioned devices that appeared miraculous or fascinating to those in the 19th and early 20th centuries. Despite being a visionary, Tesla was no sorcerer. He surmounted numerous hurdles in his quest to advance our civilization. Some contend that without the censorship Tesla encountered, we might now inhabit a utopian realm, replete with free and limitless energy. Nevertheless, his life and demise are shrouded in a plethora of enigmas. Among his most fascinating yet unrealized inventions was a type of a steam generator. He secured a patent for a device not only designed to generate electricity but also to create resonance at various frequencies. Tesla calibrated the generator to match the resonant frequency of the building housing his New York City lab. The outcome was so dramatic that it surprised even Tesla himself. A modest generator induced vibrations strong enough that the building nearly toppled. Local residents, mistaking the vibrations for an earthquake, called the police and ambulance service in a state of panic. To avert further damage, Tesla dismantled the generator with a hammer and instructed his staff to keep silent about the incident. Envision a machine adjustable to any frequency. This concept led Tesla to conceive a geodynamic generator capable of producing a comparable impact. He speculated that such a machine, if properly configured, could avert earthquakes or conversely trigger them if misconfigured. Recalling the recent severe earthquake in Turkey, one might wonder if Tesla's technology had been covertly advanced and employed by globalists. Envision a weapon with the power to manipulate tectonic activities such as earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and tsunamis, dictating their occurrence in targeted areas. Ownership of such weaponry would grant unparalleled dominance to any nation. Tesla endeavored to halt the creation of such a device. Nevertheless, there are claims that the United States might possess a Tesla-like generator, potentially used to trigger seismic events globally. The potential for disaster with such technology is immense, which is likely why Tesla reportedly demolished the prototype with a hammer, seizing its advancement. On July 11, 1934, Tesla first discovered this novel weapon in major international newspapers. He disclosed it to major newspapers, presenting it as a means to neutralize ground forces and aerial defenses. The media termed it the death ray. Tesla revealed his remarkable invention, the particle beam emitter, intended for national defense. He named the system Teleforce, asserting that it could annihilate invading forces and down fleets of incoming aircraft up to 200 miles away. The concept of beam weapons introduced on Nikola Tesla's 78th birthday in 1934 remains shrouded in mystery regarding its operational details. A decade prior to his passing, Tesla unveiled this weapon primarily as a defensive measure, with the bold claim that it could terminate all warfare. The media quickly labeled it a death ray. Its operational principle involved accelerating a mercury isotope to 43 times the speed of sound within a vacuum chamber through electromagnetic repulsion before directing the resultant beam at a target. Now, the article stated that 78-year-old Tesla was developing a new type of beam weapon, which he dubbed the death beam. Tesla claimed its invention would render war on Earth impossible. He envisioned his death ray as an invisible barrier encircling each nation, only far more effective. And by year's end, Tesla had unsuccessfully sought funding from Jack Morgan, son of J.P. Morgan. In his correspondence, he detailed the defensive weapons capabilities. Tesla proposed handing over his Teleforce design to a League of Nations to deter future wars, but the U.S. government aimed to be the sole owner of such a weapon, blocking its dissemination. In subsequent years saw Tesla alleging attempts to pilfer his design. He reported break-ins and document scrutiny at his office, but purportedly the intruders left without the designs, fueling speculation that the death ray was never more than a figment of Tesla's imagination. Now, the primary reason these aircraft were not realized was the failure to utilize a network of electric towers for the wireless transmission of electricity. Regrettably, the establishment of a network of such towers could enable free global electricity transmission has been hindered by the world's governments and major corporations. And this could result in the loss of billions in revenue for companies in the fossil fuel industry. In 1917, the US government demolished the Tesla Tower, which was never rebuilt, thus thwarting Tesla's plans for flying machines. Interestingly, a youth TV series in the 1990s called The Sorcerer featured similar flying ships. In this reimagined narrative, technologies akin to Tesla's were realized, with ships using magnetic levitation and drawing power from special towers. Tesla was a visionary of prophetic insights. He aspired to a world where humanity thriving without the strong exploiting the weak, the good suffering at the hands of the evil, and the poor enduring the riches of violence. He imagined a society where scientific and artistic advancements served to enhance and beautify life, not just to enrich a few. And this is on Solask. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Please support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.